I'm Mrs. Jardine, and I am going to be talking about Cnidarians today. Cnidarians, the C is silent, Cnidarian. It's not Canarian or whatever you would say. So it's Cnidarians. Cnidarians are like jellyfish and hydra. Those are examples. They're soft bodied. They are carnivorous animals, so that means they're carnivores. That means they only eat meat. They have stinging tentacles arranged in circles. So, okay. So they have stinging tentacles arranged in circles, and they are the simplest animals to have body symmetry. What type of body symmetry do you think they have? You'll find out. All right, so there's characteristics of Cnidarians. They have cnidocytes. Cnidocytes, site means cell. They are stinging cells found on their tentacles. So they have, like, say, think of a jellyfish and their little tentacle that hangs down. They have these little stinging cells. And it actually looks like this. This is really, really cool. So in here, this is the cnidocyte or whatever, and here's the stinging stuff. They use these for defense and capture of prey. So a lot of times it paralyzes their prey so that they're able to, they can't swim away, and then they're able to catch them and put them into their gastrovascular cavity. On their cnidocytes are nematocysts, and nematocysts are the poison-filled dart-like structure. So basically what happens is you have, here, let me see if I can do this. All right, so something swims by and they're like, ooh, it triggers their cnidocyte to release it. Their nematocysts release it, and then I'm gonna see how I can do that. So then, it's not gonna work because I don't have it tied to it. I have to tie it. I have this marker and this string at school, but I don't have them up. So the poison-filled dart, it paralyzes it. There's like the sea anemone. I've seen this video of the sea anemone, and they have tentacles. They're sessile. They just sit, well, they're not always sessile, but they sit there like this, right? And then they have these tentacles coming out. I have a picture of it later so I can show you. So a fish swims by and their tentacles touch it, and then they paralyze it, and the fish is like, I can't move, and then, so it can't move, and so it's alive, and they like swallow it alive, and it's super sad, and you're like, oh my gosh, the poor fish. But sea anemones gotta eat, you know? So, all right, I'll show you. So here's the nematocyst, right? Right here. That is the poison-filled like dart structures. That's the brown structure. Can you see it? No, there we go. Brown structure. This flashlight is the cnidocyte. So that's embedded in the tentacle. All right. So say my hand's a tentacle. It's embedded in. Well, this fish swims by, touches it, right? Okay. So then it goes whoosh, and this nematocyst like untwists itself, injects itself in the fish, and now the fish is paralyzed. See, and then it's able to pull it in with its tentacles. That was a lot of messing around to show you that. I don't know if it was helpful. So, for example, it says, or a shrimp comes in and touches the tentacles, and thousands of what I just showed you, thousands of them hit that shrimp and they explode into the animal and releases poison and paralyzes or kills its prey. And then they swallow it. It's really actually kind of cool. All right, so let's go back to that symmetry. Remember I asked you what type of symmetry do you think that they have? We'll look at their circular here without the tentacles on the bottom. There's asymmetrical. Asymmetrical means zero symmetry. Means it's not even in any way, shape, or form. Bilateral, the prefix bi means two. So bilateral symmetry means you cut it down and you have a left and right side. So I have bilateral symmetry. You cut me down my nose, left, right side. Cnidarians have radial symmetry. They're like a basketball. If you cut the basketball, you can cut it a million different ways. Like a pizza, you can cut your pizza. And you fold it in half and it's symmetrical. It doesn't matter which way you cut your pizza, you fold it in half, it's symmetrical. That would be radial symmetry. They have a central mouth. See, here's their mouth, central mouth, surrounded by tentacles. Here's some tentacles. So this would be like a jellyfish body plan, and this would be like a hydra body plan. So polyp and medusa are the two different shapes, or they could be stages of their life. Here's the polyp. Polyp usually sits down. Sometimes it's sessile. Remember, sessile from the other video means it doesn't move. And sometimes it only moves when there isn't any food. And then it like will jump around. So these would be tentacles up here. And this is the polyp shape. That's what a hydra looks like. This is the jellyfish. Here's the mouth down here. Oh, so right here is the mouth on here. So if this is a tentacle, it would sting. Its cnidocytes would shoot out its nematocysts, paralyze the prey. Tentacles would grab it and bring it into its mouth. Notice there's only a mouth, right? And where's the anus? It's the same hole. So they have a mouth and anus. I like to call it a manus because it's a mouth / anus. So the food goes in the mouth, they digest it in their gastrovascular cavity, and then the undigested food comes out the same hole, the manus. So polyp is vase-shaped, mouth points up. Medusa is bell-shaped, mouth points down. This is a great video, Shape of Life. You Google Shape of Life, or it's embedded in the PowerPoint if you were in my classroom. It's great. I love Shape of Life. It's amazing. They have really great videos, so you should watch that. All right, let's go over exoderm. Exoderm is the outer layer. That is the red part. The gastroderm, that would be the endoderm, is the blue layer. Cnidarians have 2 tissue layers, endoderm and exoderm. Ectoderm, sorry. Your book calls it an ectoderm. This picture says exo. Your book says, here, let me type it for you. Your book says ecto. Oopsies. Shoot a pickle. Hit the wrong button. There you go. Ecto is E. C. T. O. Ectoderm. And then D. E. R. M. That's cursive. Ecto. That's what your book says. And that would be the outer layer, the epidermis, that type of thing. And endo is the inner layer. They have 2 tissue layers. All other phylums have 3 tissue layers. So since they don't have that full tissue layer, they have something called a gastroderm is the endoderm. They have something called a mesoglia. Instead of a mesoderm, which is what the other chapters will have, they have a mesoglia. It's not a full tissue layer, but it's similar, okay? Kind of like if you buy instant potatoes, they're flakes. They're similar to potatoes, and if you've never had them, consider yourself lucky. If you grew up with your parents sneaking them in on you sometimes and saying, just add some extra butter. We didn't really make gravy. Add some extra butter, and it will taste fine. No offense if you love it. I haven't had them in 30 years, so I don't know what they taste like now. Maybe they taste amazing. My dad loved them. My brothers did. I just didn't. I like real potatoes, but it's similar. Instant potatoes are similar than a real potato. Mesoglia is similar, but not even close to the same. Like I said, maybe they're good now. I don't want to offend you if you're the creator of instant potatoes. Okay, so I kept saying gastrovascular cavity. You're probably like, what is that word? You don't make sense. Right here, gastrovascular cavity. It is the internal space or hole into which food is digested. So right here. Come on, mouse. So this is your mouth. Food goes in here. Here's your gastrovascular cavity, the space here. Epidermis is the red outer layer of cells. Mesoglia is the space between the ectoderm and the endoderm. Okay. Oh, I said epidermis. Oh, yeah, that's right. Ectoderm is the epidermis. Endoderm is the inside. Come on, you punk. There it is. Ah, so beautiful. Let's see. So I already told you the prey pulls its mouth into the gastrovascular cavity. So here's the mouth / anus or manus. Okay, right here. Here's your gastrovascular cavity. So that fish that I was telling you about, or the shrimp, the jellyfish, the cnidocytes, which are the cells on the tentacles, have nematocysts in them, which are the trigger, like this flashlight situation with the necklace around it. Okay, that's nematocyst. That shoots out, paralyzes the prey. Okay, paralyzes the prey. Prey can't move. Right, and it winds back up when it's done. And like thousands of them do that, and then it absorbs it into the mouth / anus. Okay, the digestion is extracellular. Partially digested food is absorbed by the gastroderm. The gastroderm is the layer that basically surrounds the gastrovascular cavity. Digestion is completed intracellular inside those cells. So in the space, it's extracellular. Get it? Because it's outside the cells. It's in the space. Extra means outside. And it's intracellular when it's inside the gastroderm cells. Okay, so it does both. Extracellular in the gastrovascular cavity and intracellular in the gastroderm cells. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Come on. All right, so this is a sea anemone. If you remember when I said a sea anemone, so they sit here on the ocean floor. So here's the ocean floor. They sit here. Then they wait for a fish to come by. because this looks like plants. Kind of like, ooh, their tentacles are waving in the ocean current. They're like, ooh, they either want to hide in the sea anemone tentacles that they don't know are tentacles, or they're like, is there food over there? So then they go over there, and then boom, I scare ya. The tentacles then shoot out their nematocysts from their cnidocytes, and they paralyze it, kill it, and then they bring it into their manus. What is this, do you ask? This is a hydra. Hydra are crazy. They're freshwater. It can be freshwater. So this is the basal disc. It's the bottom part, the part that would attach to the floor. And then, so here's the mouth, here, manus, and these are tentacles. So they are little tiny things. They touch, attack. Ready? Boom! They attack, paralyze it, and they bring it into their mouth. And then here's your gastrovascular cavity. And then they absorb it. Do you remember what body type are these two? Polyp or medusa? Polyp. They're both polyp. Okay, remember they only have 2 tissue layers. Nutrients from digestion are transported through by diffusion. If you don't remember what diffusion is movement of molecules from high concentration to low. So if you take a glass of water and you drop food coloring in it, what happens to the food coloring? Does it just stay at the top forever? The high concentration in that drop at the top is going to diffuse out. It's going to spread out in the water until pretty soon, if you come back later, the whole thing will be red if the drop is red. So high concentration in that drop, low concentration at the bottom because the water's clear, right? And so it'll diffuse out. That's diffusion. So if there's high concentration of food in the gastrovascular cavity, then that food will be broken up, absorbed into the gastroderm, and will be digested there, and then that nutrients will be dispersed through diffusion. High concentration in one area and diffuse everywhere else to all the cells that need it. And with oxygen. Because remember, they only have 2 tissues that they own, two tissue layers, endoderm and ectoderm. They don't have that middle tissue layer, the mesoderm. They can't have a circulatory system because they're missing it. They don't have an excretory system or respiratory. So they don't have lungs. They don't have a bladder. They don't have a heart. So they have to do everything through diffusion. Diffusion is a word we use a lot. So you should hopefully know what that means. I don't know how to go back to the mouse. Okay. Why is everything moving? This is like a sea anemone here. The responses, they use sensory cells. They have something called a nerve net. A nerve net is a loosely organized network of nerve cells that together allow cnidarians to detect stimuli. So it's kind of dispersed throughout the body. And some of them have ocelli, which are eye spots that can detect light. So they can say, oh, the light is up here. I know that there's food up there. I'm going to go toward the light. But they don't have eyes like we do, because remember, they have radial symmetry. If they had eyes like we did, they wouldn't be able to have it. They don't have radial symmetry then because they have 2 eyes. But they might have eye spots. They are able to move through jet propulsion. That's medusas. So like they are able to push water and move that way. Sea anemones use hydrostatic skeleton, which is a bunch of circular muscles and longitudinal muscles that kind of work together to help it go like an accordion. So that's kind of how they move. Sea anemones are really cool. Scarf jellyfish, I mean, it's fine. Here's a hydra. Hydra